Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast Radio.
Welcome back to Southeast Radio's Business Matters with me, Karl Fitzpatrick. Well, with such large players operating in the broadband market, it's hard to see how a local broadband provider could compete. However, my next guest has done just that. James O'Sullivan of Whizzy Internet, based in North County Wexford, has recently celebrated 5 years in business and has just passed the 2,500 customer mark. James, when you were starting out, where did you see the niche in the market for this business?
Right, well, we used to work for a company similar to what we've built in a different county, and we saw an opportunity in our own area. I'm from Kylenairn, so I knew the area, and I thought there was an opening there for a locally based broadband provider.
Now, you're focused purely at this moment in time on the North County Wexford area. There's no shortage of broadband providers already in that particular space, and the National Broadband Plan will be delivering there locally very, very soon.
With the National Broadband Plan, we can onboard with them. We can give customers multiple options. We are also a reseller of Aircom's fibre to the home services. So if a customer calls us, we can give them our traditional fixed wireless access connection, which would deliver speeds of up to 100 megabits with the new technology that we've just recently rolled out across our network. And with fibre to the home, then it's 150 megabits for the entry-level package, and Cyro is the same. And then, as far as we're aware, with the National Broadband Plan, the entry-level package will be 150 megabits as well.
Of course, we're all aware of the options in relation to broadband, whether they be fibre, satellite or radio wave. Now, you've gone for the radio wave, the fixed wireless access option in that respect. Why so?
Yeah, we work in a space called the unlicensed spectrum. It's working off 5 gigahertz. So we didn't have the finance to buy licenses for in the 3.5 gigahertz band, which were sold by the state for millions. So we had no option but to look at the unlicensed spectrum. And that when we started first, we could easily deliver 10 to 15 megabits to a customer. And at the time, 5 years ago, there was no one else in this area really delivering any more than 3 or 4 megabits to a customer out in a rural area. So we decided to sell our 10 megabit package, which was by far and away our most popular package. But now, with the increase in speed by a lot of other providers, we decided that we would roll out next generation technology, still using the 5 gigahertz spectrum, and it can deliver speeds of up to 100 megabits to the customer.
Okay, but to put a fixed wireless access system in place, that took a big investment from yourself. So how did you fund that?
Well, I was lucky in that my mum gave me our family farm, and we had a chat with her, and she didn't have a problem with me selling some of the land to finance the network. As regards the rest of the finance, as the company grew and the customer numbers grew, so it became self-financing, and we do have plans to extend as well. So at the moment we're delighted with how things are going.
How many customers have you got now using Whizzy Internet, and what did you do to be able to build that brand over the past 5 years?
We're on about 2,500 customers now, and we've started off with a list of about 50 people who some of them were friends, some were their family, other people I'd been chatting to and met over the few months before we were ready to go. So we had about 50 people waiting to get connected, and we got those people connected in the first couple of weeks, and basically they felt that the service was so good that they could recommend it to their family and friends. So that's basically how we started. In the last year, I suppose, we've started doing a bit more advertising, and it's probably as much to do with the increased competition as anything else, and to now let people know about all the multiple alternative services that we offer.
When you're out meeting potential clients, of course they're asking about the download speeds, but almost as importantly today is the upload speeds, isn't it?
That's correct. Well, traditionally what we call fibre to the cabinet, which would be known as Sky Fibre or E-Fibre or one of those other services, the upload on those type of VDSL services wouldn't have been as good as upload with fixed wireless access. So fixed wireless access can be done in a synchronous fashion, as in if you wanted 50 megabits down, we could also give you 50 megabits up at the same time, which fibre will allow you to do that, but until very recently that wasn't an option. So the good thing about fixed wireless access is that the upload can be what we call a synchronous service. We can give you as much upload as download.
And in terms of your geographical reach at the moment, what is it?
We start off basically at Arklow, and then we go out. Our coverage extends out to the coast side of Croken, Anna Hill, almost into Carnew, and then come back through Cranford, down almost to Camolan, and then we go from Camolan down to into Ballycanoe and draw a line across from there to Bull of Ogue, down across Owlert, almost down to Balloch, and then down to Blackwater, and everything down to the coast inside of that area. So we cover quite a large area of North Wexford. We do have plans to expand into other parts like Monagear. We want to do Ferns properly. We want to get into down as far as Enniscorthy and into do Bull of Ogue properly around the Harrow. That's our next target area, if you will.
Now, of course, you're using, as I say, radio wave, which is fixed wireless access.
Yeah.
So, of course, there's a line of sight requirement. Does the landscape cause you any complications in that part of the county?
Sometimes we do. We tend to put in a base station about every 6 to 8 kilometres apart. So if we went out to a house in an area, we would hope to have at least 2 options to get that house connected. Sometimes we'd have 3 or maybe even 4. But generally then, because we have a few options, if there were a grove of trees or a line of trees in one direction, we would have another direction to look for. And then it does happen where we go out and we don't have coverage, but thankfully it's more rare than not.
And James, with 5G on the horizon, is this something that will cause a threat to your business?
5G it's amazing technology. It can do fantastic speeds. We do, and I know the license, we would have never been able to compete with the big boys for the license for 5G. It was just too expensive. It was completely out of our budget. It was sold on a nationwide basis rather than a small geographical basis. And what it will do is, I'd imagine a lot of them are going to put in masts in villages and towns fairly close together. It'll work great for short range, maybe up to a kilometre, and then once you get past the kilometre, the speeds drop off dramatically. But traditionally, what the bigger providers who are using this type of spectrum and basically what's called similar to mobile phone technology, they give you fantastic speeds, but then they throttle the amount that they allow you to use. So we don't really think it'll impact too much, but until they start selling it, we won't know for sure. But at the moment, we're not too worried about 5G being a threat.
And finally, James, Whizzy Internet recently picked up an award at the All-Ireland Business All-Star Awards. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, it's a brilliant award for us to get. I know some of the other local companies here in Gorey have received it in the last year or two, and we applied for it. We went through quite a thorough vetting process, which they were thorough in how they decided whether we should get the award or not, and we were delighted when they sent us an email and they said that we received accreditation with them, and it's a credit to the team here in Whizzy and the guys that work for us and how dedicated they are to provide the service that we do. And I think we're the first broadband provider in the whole country to receive the award, so it's a nice award to have received.
Well, that was James O'Sullivan of Whizzy Internet, and it's great to see a young local company succeed in a market which is dominated by large national brands with deep pockets.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast